An election campaign shouldn't look like this. Or sound like this.
Racist! Racist! Racist!
Not how Jeremy Corbyn wants to be seen or how he sees himself. Labour's Faith and Race Manifesto launch overshadowed.
Have a lovely day.
After Britain's most senior Jewish leader said anti-Semitism was a new poison in Labour. And the chief rabbi clear Mr Corbyn is to blame. He says Labour can no longer claim to be the party of equality and anti-racism. He says this election battle is that for the soul of our nation. If, as the chief rabbi says, the overwhelming majority of Jews are gripped with anxiety, his words, about you being Prime Minister, how can the wider public vote Labour?
There is no place whatsoever for anti-Semitism in our society, our country, or in my party, and there never will be so long as I'm leader of the party. And since I became leader of the party has adopted processes that didn't exist before, that has had a disciplinary process that didn't exist before.
Those procedures not good enough for the chief rabbi, but they are good enough for this candidate. Can the wider public, in good conscience now, really vote for Labour?
Well, Beth, I think Lord Dobbs very eloquently highlighted today that the likes of him, myself and others do not agree with that analysis of the chief rabbi, that if the Labour Party was anti-Semitic or racist in any way, the likes of me would not be a part of that movement.
Did Mr Corbyn speak to you about it? He must have felt quite hurt about it, I suppose, because he has prided himself on being an anti-racism campaigner.
I think as a human being he is hurt about it, yes. Who wouldn't be if they were being attacked in this way?
Mr Corbyn, what do you think the chief rabbi thinks? Thank you very much.
Mr Corbyn grimacing on exit, no doubt keen to get away. Christian and Muslim leaders today acknowledged the anxiety being felt by the Jewish community and stood in solidarity with them. British Jews might only make up a small fraction of the population, but when it comes to the continued criticism of Jeremy Corbyn's handling of anti-Semitism, well, that definitely has cut through to the wider public. This is not just a problem for British Jews. This is a big problem too for the Labour Party. At the height of the election campaign, political opponents quick to capitalise.
I do think it is a very serious business when the chief rabbi speaks as he does. I've never known anything like it, and clearly it is a failure of leadership.
But questions to answer to in his own party. The Muslim Council of Britain accusing the Conservatives of denial, dismissal and deceit over the issue of Islamophobia.
What we do in the Tory party is when anybody is guilty of any kind of prejudice or discrimination against another group, then they're out.
Both parties struggling to represent and protect everyone in our society, but the chief rabbi's intervention unprecedented. He suggests Mr Corbyn's unfit for high office. The critical question now is whether the voters hear his message and agree. Beth Rigby, Sky News, Westminster.